Cyril Ramaphosa will go down in history as one of the most useless presidents we have had after 1994. How many commissions of inquiry has the ANC government, even under previous presidents, have been instituted? And where have the actions been? Much against this national dialogue. Much against it. I am going to do something I have never done in my life. Publicly, I will endorse Helen Zille to be mayor of Johannesburg with a heavy heart. Ramaphosa, if he lives long, say he touches 80, he will die in jail.
Fam, I just want to give a shout out to the sponsor of today's episode, Pace Car Rental. Use promo code SMWX for 10% off your next car rental, and make sure you show Pace some love as they're showing this channel some love. Now, let's get into the episode. Spread the fire. Welcome back to SMWX, and today my guest is one of your favorite analysts, none other than Prince Mashele, to help us explore and understand the revelations, the shocks, and the bombshells that have hit South African politics in the last few weeks. Sir, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks, Caesar. You have a way of digging me out of my hole, from time to time.
I have a feeling this conversation is going to be a very big one.
Well, I don't know. It depends on you.
I mean, first things first, what did you make of General Mkhwanazi's press briefing, which has really sent shockwaves across the political landscape?
Look, I was shocked and not shocked at the same time. I was shocked because I didn't suspect that our government could be captured by hardcore criminals the way Mkhwanazi has revealed. And I don't treat this as allegations, by the way. And I've listened to a number of analysts saying he's alleged. And so I'll tell you why I don't treat it as allegations. This is a man who occupies an office. So if this stuff came from you, I would treat them as allegations because you don't occupy any office. This is a man who fights crime every day.
Access to lots of intelligence.
Access to intelligence. He's supposed to have access to intelligence, and he has access to intelligence. So this is data. It's not allegations. So I was shocked that our country could be captured by hardcore criminals like that at the highest level. So I was shocked. I thought the state could be captured by business people, but hardcore criminals, I was very, very shocked. But there's a part of me that was not shocked. Because the political characters that are involved are ANC characters. We wrote in our book with Dr. Mzukisi Qobo, 2014, The Fall of the ANC. People didn't pay attention. We said the ANC had changed its name on the basis of its conduct. It's no longer the African National Congress. It's the African National Criminals. We wrote it. It's there. It's in writing. So I was not shocked because I have always known that the ANC is now a bunch of criminals. So when I heard that there's an ANC minister who is in cahoots with criminals, I knew that this is exactly the ANC that I know. But as a citizen, I am very concerned. Our state is drifting unguided, and those who are supposed to be guardians of our children's future no longer have the interests of the nation at heart. They are busy playing musical chess and all manner of underhanded things that they're doing. So we are in trouble as a society.
Big time. What do you make of how the president has responded to this? He was in Rio at the time of the allegations, had a week where we were deciding what he was going to do, and then has recently now announced this commission of inquiry.
Look, Cyril Ramaphosa will go down in history as one of the most useless presidents we have had after 1994. And I don't mince my words, useless. The Zuma will go down in this as the most criminal. But let's park that. We've dealt with Zuma many times. You see, there is a moment for a leader of a country to show leadership, to lead his nation. Cyril Ramaphosa missed the moment. He was outside. Mkhwanazi told us what he knows. We're all shocked. We're expecting that he was going to be decisive. That's Cyril Ramaphosa. He did not act like a leader. He has completely forgotten his responsibilities. Let me tell you, I know how the state works. I worked in government myself. So I know what I'm talking about. A president is client number one of our intelligence services.
Absolutely.
They report to the president.
Yeah.
The president is supposed to get briefings, intelligence briefings, every single day in the morning. Before he begins his activities, he's supposed to be told what is happening in the country. So there is absolutely nothing that Mkhwanazi knows that Cyril Ramaphosa does not know.
Such an important point, actually.
So this idea that there must be a commission of inquiry to investigate as if the president does not know what is happening is absolute nonsense. In fact, it is insulting our intelligence as a society. He knows. He even knows more than what Mkhwanazi knows. So there is absolutely nothing for him to find out. He knows Mchunu is in the pockets of criminals. He knows that. But he cannot act sternly against Mchunu. Why? Because he and Mchunu are partners in crime. Let me explain what I'm talking about. When he became president of the ANC in 2017, Mchunu was the chief campaigner of CR17 in KwaZulu-Natal.
Absolutely, and also ran as SG on the slate.
Exactly. So all the dirty money that was collected by Cyril Ramaphosa from Bosasa and all manner of dirty money that he went to court to try and protect. The person who was handling that dirty money in KwaZulu-Natal was Mchunu. So Mchunu knows a lot about Cyril Ramaphosa's dirty money.
Sure.
That's why Cyril Ramaphosa will never deal with Mchunu seriously. So this whole thing, the way he has done it, they actually sat somewhere and say, how do we handle this thing in such a way that I don't injure you? And the deal is very clear to me. I can see it. The nation now knows they have seen what Mkhwanazi has said. They will never believe us when we say you have done nothing wrong.
Yeah.
So what do? We must get you to step aside in such a way that you keep your fat salary, you keep your chauffeur-driven vehicles, you don't buy fuel, you live in the same house, all the benefits must not be taken away from you. That's what he has done, this thing called a leave of absence. At the same time, then he goes to appoint an ANC professor. It's an ANC professor, this chap. We know him. Now, this is what is going to happen. When our country is in trouble, infiltrated by criminals, Cyril Ramaphosa, instead of dealing with the criminals, he actually makes us pay more. We pay him 2 ministers. We are even going to pay for a commission of inquiry.
And 2 deputy ministers.
So the summary of the story is this. This is the most expensive way of insulting us. He has used our money as a nation to insult us expensively. That's the gist of it. There's no other way. If you are fooled by Ramaphosa, you are fooled because you choose to be fooled.
At this point, yeah.
At this point. The last point is this. Einstein said the definition of a fool is someone who does the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. How many commissions of inquiry has the ANC government, even under previous presidents, have been instituted? And where have the actions been? We know the ANC, when they want a problem to disappear, they institute a commission of inquiry in order for the nation's anger to dissipate, and then they move on. This is exactly what Cyril Ramaphosa is doing. He thinks that we are idiots as a nation.
Yeah, I mean, I'm fascinated by a lot that you say there, but first, the connection between Mchunu and Ramaphosa, and I think of the CR17 bank statements because there's also some reporting that links Brown Mogotsi, who's this individual who has been said to have played an intermediary role between these nefarious criminal interests and the minister. And Ramaphosa, he was part of the CR17 campaign. So if the president isn't careful, this might spill out into more than just Mchunu and actually start bringing some of his skeletons to the fore. I add further, Phala Phala is a situation where the police, criminal elements, and the executive again have come into this triangle, and it's been suppressed as hard as the president can suppress it. But if we're not careful here, this could go much further than even the president knows.
Look, like I said earlier, the ANC is a criminal organization. The criminal in chief, it's his president, the Ramaphosa himself. By the way, that the ANC is criminal and corrupt, it's not only me who says it. Ramaphosa wrote a letter himself and said that the ANC is accused number one in the court of corruption. So even Ramaphosa knows what I'm talking about, that this party is a corrupt and criminal party. Full stop. Secondly, you are quite correct. Phala Phala was an open act of criminality. If you were found in your house, Sizwe, with the kind of money that was found in Cyril Ramaphosa's sofa, by now your father and your wife and everybody, your relatives, would be coming to prison to greet you. You wouldn't be sitting with me like this. The same applies to me if I was found with that kind of money.
I can assure you these couches don't have, sadly, that amount.
Yeah, they don't feel like I'm sitting on this. It doesn't feel like there's money. So if money was found in this couch, you would be gone. So look, we can't, you see, when your country is burning, it's no time to lie. Tell the truth. Ramaphosa, when it comes to Phala Phala, acted criminally. He was supposed to be in jail by now, but he was protected by his friends, and the police were used in the process. So I am not surprised when he is doing damage control and to protect Mchunu, because the police, the senior brass in the police, they protected him. So it's a body thing.
Sure.
So when you say if we are not careful, don't say if we are not careful, because when you say if we are not careful, you're including you and I. We're not part of that criminality. Say if the ANC criminals and Ramaphosa are not careful, this thing is going to come to bite them. Here is my prediction. Ramaphosa, if he lives long, say he touches 80, he will die in jail.
Sure.
You see, when you are in power, and I've seen Zuma, by the way, play this game before, you can use state institutions to protect yourself. You commit crime because you have power. But let me tell you, 10 years is nothing in the life of a nation. I saw Zuma exiting power, and I saw Zuma going to jail. When the next administration comes, Phala Phala will not die. All those files, not all of them will disappear. And those investigations will still be conducted. Ramaphosa is going to be arrested at some point.
Sure.
That's my prediction. Yeah. Live and I live. And we'll see.
Yeah. Wow. Wow. It's quite a statement to make, but we've seen things like that in our country, and the politically powerful can only protect themselves for so long before things start to shift. And you can really feel the ground shifting after these allegations, partly because I think up to now, Ramaphosa has very skillfully pinned the blame for the country's problems still on Zuma and the Zuma era. And you and I both were very critical of Zuma and the state capture years. But now all of these allegations come from 2018. So now the Ramaphosa government is the one on trial. And it seems like the revelations that have been made are just as serious about the state being captive to private and criminal interests.
Yeah, look, the ANC government, I mean, to be fair, has been criminal for a long time, even under Mbeki, by the way. And I'm going to tell you the difference between Mbeki and the other presidents. Think of the arms deal. That was a criminal enterprise. You know, anybody can say whatever they want to say about it.
And another commission that led nowhere.
And there was a commission that led nowhere. It was a criminal enterprise. So the ANC, even in exile, by the way, the ANC has been a criminal enterprise. I mean, they were running drug cartels in exile. Sure. We know this stuff. I mean, it's out there.
Aubrey Machikli was talking about this on the channel. Yeah.
Not only were they selling drugs, they were actually murdering each other. I mean, the killings that were happening in the ANC in exile, this stuff is real. So the ANC, its DNA is that of criminality. You cannot lead the ANC and not be criminalized or corrupted. So that's the starting point. But the difference between the presidency of Mbeki and Zuma and Ramaphosa is this. There is no evidence, and there have never been allegations, not even allegations, by the way, that Mbeki stole money for his personal benefit.
Yeah, sure.
So whatever corruption and criminality that his administration engaged in, it was for the benefit of the party, not for his own personal benefit. When Zuma entered the fray, he twisted this thing. The ANC continued to steal for the party, but he also stole for his own pocket, Zuma, stealing for himself with his friends, the Guptas. Ramaphosa also, if you look at the Phala Phala mess, this money was found in his private property.
Yeah, what was it doing there?
What was it doing? The dollars, US dollars. I mean, we don't buy with US dollars in South Africa. And by law, you cannot buy with US dollars in South Africa.
And this buffalo never left the farm.
Exactly. So you can see that Ramaphosa and Zuma actually are not different. But you see, because Ramaphosa has this practice English accent, and you know, he's got this way of projecting himself like a sophisticated chap. Now, there's a veneer of sophistication above this criminal character. He is as criminal as Zuma. And he also, by the way, has got friends in the private sector who are getting deals from the state. We know this. So you are quite right. This whole myth that Ramaphosa is a Mr. Clean, that has been blown up now.
Yeah.
We now know Ramaphosa is not different from Zuma. And we now know that he is the criminal in chief leading a criminal organization. These things that are coming out, you're right, can be attributed directly to his administration. So this whole thing that is a Mr. Clean, that has been blown up.
I mean, the counter argument that I've heard from some quarters is, what else was he supposed to do? How do you respond to that? A commission of inquiry is the best thing in this instance because it brings an independent set of eyes onto this, and the institutions themselves are too compromised to conduct this investigation.
No. That's nonsense, by the way, that counter-argument. I've been listening to radio stations, and even my colleagues, political analysts, is making a lot of noise. It's nonsense. They don't understand how the state runs. I said earlier, Ramaphosa knows everything because he receives intelligence. He's client number one. So there's nothing that Ramaphosa doesn't know. A political analyst may not know, but the president knows.
Yeah.
So knowing what he knows, what should he have done? This is how he should have done it. If I were him or I were his advisor, this is how I would have choreographed this thing. He was in Brazil. These things are now out, things that he knows anyway.
Yeah.
And he says, I want to provide leadership to my nation. My nation is crying. They are sick and tired of this corruption and crime. I want to restore the integrity of the state and the integrity of government. I would have started operating, if I were him, from Brazil, issuing instructions. This guy from Brazil, by the way, president can talk to anyone in South Africa, by the way. Virtually can talk to anyone. Should have set up a press conference at the airport, military airport. When I come back, I land, I want to sit in front of journalists and talk to the nation. He walks out of the plane, he sits there. He says, we are sick and tired of this corruption and criminality. We are cleaning up. I have fired the minister of the police. From the airport, fired the minister of the police. Here's the thing. If he fired Mchunu, what would you lose as a nation? This chap, by the way, can't take the president to say CCMA. He's not an employee, this guy. He's not a normal employee that if you are fired unfairly and therefore you can go to the CCMA. You can fire this guy, by the way, while he's sleeping.
And there's no standard of beyond a reasonable doubt
exactly,
or anything.
Exactly. You can fire this guy while he's sleeping. So
from the airport.
Yeah, from the airport. I would have fired him from the airport. Number one. Number two, I would have suspended Sibiya from the airport. Yeah. The processes are set up already, suspended, because that one is an employee. He needs to be taken through inverted commas due process. But this chap, you fire him. You replace him with another minister who is perceived to be clean. If he had done that, by the way, he would have saved us money as a society. Now, he is costing us money. We are going to pay this chap who has done his things with criminals. We are now going to pay another chap who is a professor who's being, by the way, this chap was supposed to retire. He's old. There's no energy, by the way. Number one. Number two, there is nothing outstanding that this professor has done. All he has done is that he's an ANC-linked professor. And by the way, I've been in academia myself, so I can say what I'm saying.
Sure.
There are competent and incompetent academics. This professor, by the way, I wouldn't count him as among the competent academics. What is it that he has done outstandingly that qualifies him to come and manage a crisis like this? Absolutely nothing. The fact that he's a professor doesn't mean anything, by the way. The ANC is not short of professors, by the way, to deploy. It's not even short of priests to come and preach at the funeral of Didi Mabuza, by the way. Someone who's known that this guy was a criminal. So he should have saved us this trouble. He should have fired Mchunu immediately and replaced him. He would have saved us money as a nation. Number one. Number two, he would have restored confidence in the nation. I can assure you, it's only him and Mchunu who thinks that South Africans are convinced by this commission of inquiry. South Africans are angry and they can see through this nonsense that what they're doing. And it's Ramaphosa style, by the way. When there's an issue says, let's talk. Now there's a useless thing coming next month, by the way, in the name of the national dialogue. How can we dialogue with criminals?
Sure.
Yeah. South Africans know that nothing will happen. It's a useless thing, by the way, where they're going to spend money and waste our money. So Ramaphosa does not care when it comes to wasting the nation's money. He comes up with these talk shows. So yeah, my response is, should have fired this guy. You lose nothing. We save a lot.
You know, I fully agree with you. And he would just still be an MP. I mean, he wouldn't even lose that much.
Even if he were to be unemployed, how many millions of unemployed South Africans? If Mchunu were to be jobless tomorrow, who would lose? It would probably, and he's old, this chap, by the way, has accumulated pension, by the way. He wouldn't even be hungry. He wouldn't receive a social grant. He would still have something to eat.
Sure.
Yeah, millions of South Africans are unemployed. Ramaphosa is taking more money from millions of South Africans to protect a body who, by the way, is just an ANC fed cat with lots of money. So he should have fired this guy.
Ready to take your podcast to the next level? At Ayeye Studios, you can film, edit, and release your podcast all in one place. From crisp visuals to clean sound, we've got you covered, and we can even distribute your podcast on YouTube and other platforms. The best part? It's brought to you by the same team that brings you SMWX quality. Are you ready to take your podcast to the next level? Welcome to Ayeye Studios.
So we did hear, in fact, as we shoot this interview, that the Deputy National Commissioner, I think is his title, for crime gathering, Shadrach Sibiya, has been placed on leave, I believe. That's right. Oratile, it's special leave, hey? Another special leave.
Yeah, it's leave of absence.
Leave of absence.
Yeah. You know, you are paid sitting at home. That's Ramaphosa for you.
I was just thinking to myself, you know what? This is not a leave of absence. This is just a sabbatical. That's what we should call it.
I mean, can you imagine you sit at home? millions just land into your bank account. Because these people,
where do I sign up for this?
Yeah. My goodness, how I wish I could get a leave of absence.
Yeah, exactly.
It would be very nice. Yeah, so that's what Ramaphosa is doing. But Ramaphosa would not do that with his own personal man. I'm sure that in his house, private houses, he has gardeners and cleaners. He will never give them leave of absence while his house is not cleaned. I can assure you. If somebody thinks I'm lying, go and investigate. You will never find Ramaphosa's gardener sitting at home on a leave of absence. But he can give Mchunu and Sibiya leave of absence because you know who is paying? Is your tax, my friend.
So true.
Yeah, and he doesn't care about your tax.
Sure. This episode is too much.
No, but it's here's the thing, Sizwe.
Yeah, someone needs to say it. I'm so glad
it's not
you've
about
just found
someone
the word.
having to say it. Our country is burning.
Yeah.
South Africa is being destroyed while we watch. We have to defend this country because we're defending the future of our. You have a child.
Yeah.
Your child is going to curse you one day if you don't defend this country. And if you think this stuff I'm saying, I'm crazy, go and look at Zimbabwe. I use the case of Zimbabwe because it's not far from us.
Sure.
When ZANU-PF was busy destroying Zimbabwe, there were people who were saying, people like me were crazy and say, no, man, you are crazy. ZANU-PF, this and that. Today in Zimbabwe, black people in Zimbabwe live like animals. You know who destroyed that? It's not some white colonialists. It's black people, ZANU-PF. So here we must never allow the ANC to destroy our country while we watch. And the good thing is this, we still fight using words. We're not using guns.
And we have these platforms.
And we have these platforms. If they want to kill us, let them kill us. But I can tell they won't finish us. So we have to defend our country because this is the only country we have.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the interesting questions for me about all this is the State Capture Commission, for all its shortcomings and failures, left a serious dent on the ANC's credibility. And in the election last year, which we have analyzed together, the ANC plummeted to just below the 40% mark. I mean, now again, for at least another 6 months to a year, we're going to have this daily broadcast of the ANC's failures. And that could be a serious problem electorally for the ANC, who are in no position at the moment, no position of strength anyway. This could be another and maybe the final nail in the ANC coffin.
Look, sis, when I predict these things, people think this guy is crazy. I predicted that the ANC, in fact, I had said to get 38% in 2024. We wrote this thing in our book that is going to lose elections in 2024.
And in 2012,
we wrote the book in 2012.
Yeah.
And I remember me having a long heated debate with my co-author, Mzu. Mzu was, Prince, 2024 will still be alive. What if we get it wrong? I said, let's write it. I think these things.
Yeah.
Here is what I think will happen.
Yeah.
The ANC will be lucky to get 20% in 2029. It's not far from now. It will be very lucky to get 20%. This is the last government that is going to include the ANC. I may not know what's going to happen in terms of the makeup of the government in 2029, but I can assure you the ANC will be around 20%, 18% in 2029. South Africans are fed up. And they are getting fed up every day. And South Africans have a right, by the way. They are correct to be fed up. The ANC, the destruction the damage that the ANC has done to our country is actually unforgivable. At some point, we will have to hunt down these chaps. Some of them will be dead, by the way. South Africans are going to go to their graves and spit, given what they've done. Look at every city. Look at every town. Look at every black township that used to be proper.
Rural areas.
Before 90, I was born and raised in the rural areas. Public hospitals, schools, they have destroyed everything. I mean, today, by the way, the things that work in South Africa, let's be blunt about it. We must not lie. The things that work in South Africa are the things that are in the private sector run by white people in South Africa. Even the ANC cadres, by the way, they walk around with medical aid cards in their back pockets because when they are sick, they don't want to go to Tembisa Hospital. You know why? Because Panyaza Lisufi and these criminal gangs, they have destroyed Tembisa Hospital. They have destroyed Mamilodi Hospital. They have destroyed in my township in Mukutlu, Matikwana Hospital. Matikwana Hospital, I know it. In Mpumalanga and Mukutlu, township called Mukutlu. Today, locals there in Matikwana Hospital, they know that if you go into that hospital, you're not coming back, you will die. So that's what the ANC has done. They have potholes. I mean, I grew up in this country. I was 18 in 1994. There were not potholes on tar roads. There were no potholes. Robots were working. I mean, this idea that you drive through a town or a city, robots don't work. It's an ANC thing. And we must name it that way. So these guys have done a lot to destroy our country. Jobs. When I was growing up in the rural areas, and this was the case, by the way, across South Africa, you are growing up in some rural area, you think one day I'm going to go find work in town. In the nearest city, we in Bushbuckridge would say we're going to Johannesburg and would find jobs. Today, if you are black, you have not been to school, even if you have been to school, you have no hope of finding employment. You know why? The ANC has destroyed the backbone of the economy. Parastatals, Transnet, Eskom, all of these things that made the economy to work, the ANC has destroyed. That's why they must never be forgiven.
I mean, I look at a city like Joburg, and just when you think service delivery can't get any worse, your low expectations get shattered again. I mean, the water crisis in the city is something that's just unbelievable. Robots, potholes, as you say. And, you know, I look at an announcement that Helen Zille could run for mayor of Joburg, and I say, look, I'm no supporter of the DA, but I've said, good luck ANC, because the experience of people in the city under ANC leadership, not just in this administration, but over decades, quite frankly, I can't see them scraping together, being the biggest party in the city anymore.
Look, if Helen Zille wins the contest in the DA, I'm not a supporter of the DA either. Sure. I'm very clear. If Helen Zille wins the contest to become the mayoral candidate of Johannesburg, I'm going to do something I've never done in my life. I am going to publicly endorse her. Did you hear that?
Wow.
This is big.
Yeah.
I am going to do something I have never done in my life. Publicly, I will endorse Helen Zille to be mayor of Johannesburg with a heavy heart. I mean, the way the ANC has destroyed Johannesburg. Johannesburg used to be the pride of Africa. They were spending money, by the way, marketing money. Pakstow destroyed this city, but it was part of the destruction of this city.
We hear his tenure was this amazing.
No, it's nonsense. By the way, I did research go and read the book I wrote about Herman Mashele, by the way. Forget the controversy. Go and read and see the details. I've done research. Sure. This chap, by the way, and the guy who died, who was mayor, what was his name? Thoroughly corrupt. I have found. I did research. This is not hearsay, my friend. Pakstow is not, it must have cleaned that way. So they've destroyed Johannesburg. So Helen Zille, for example, has proven a proven track record. She ran Cape Town as mayor. She did not destroy it. She ran the Western Cape as premier. She did not destroy it. Let me tell you something that will shock you. The Cape Town city center is the second most visited part of South Africa by tourists. Listen to this. The Cape Town city center is the second most visited part of South Africa by tourists, second to the Kruger National Park. Tell me, would you advise anyone you know, a tourist, to visit the city center of Johannesburg, to go to Hillbrow? I used to go to, there's a street in Johannesburg, small street. I remember as a young boy, I used to walk there with my brother. It was beautiful, leading to Carlton Center. Beautiful, my goodness. You go to that street today and see what the ANC has done. So the ANC fellows must be booted out of Johannesburg as soon as possible if you want to save that city. The longer they stay in office, the faster the destruction of this city. It's so sad. How can you go without water in Sandton?
Sure. For like a full week.
I mean, the richest square mile in Africa, you are without water. It can only happen under an incompetent called Dada Moreiro.
Let's just pray this G20 we don't get further embarrassed.
I mean,
Trump will be sitting there without water if he ever comes.
Yeah, I mean, he said it won't come. I mean, Trump wouldn't come here. Cyril says he's shocked by Johannesburg. But here's the thing. Cyril lives in Johannesburg. He sleeps in Johannesburg every day. He drives on potholes every day, number one. Number two, he attends the National Working Committee of the ANC every second Monday.
Yeah.
That's what the ANC president does.
Yeah.
Right at the heart of Johannesburg. So he is a liar. How could he go to Johannesburg every second week and he goes to his house in Johannesburg every day and he does not see the destruction? Either he is blind, but we know he can see. He does not even wear glasses like me. So he can see.
Or me.
Yeah, or you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the guy actually sees better than you and I.
Yeah.
But he's a liar.
I never understood that Joburg thing, and I'm afraid since that big announcement where he listened to stakeholders in the Joburg chamber, maybe something will come one day, but I've just seen things getting worse in Joburg.
Now look, here's the thing. Everything that the ANC touches turns to dust. Full stop. If you think I'm lying, just go to every town. Go to Mthatha.
Eastern Cape is so heartbreaking.
The Eastern Cape, my goodness, it's like it's cursed. But you know what? The Eastern Cape is not cursed by God. It's cursed by the ANC. So we must be very clear here. The way the ANC has destroyed the Eastern Cape is unforgivable. That's where our political heroes come from. I mean, we are so proud of Sisulu, Mandela, OR, right?
Yeah.
But look at what, I mean, these ANC chaps, they have no heart. They even stole money from the funeral of Nelson Mandela. Can you believe it? They are burying our moral icon. They are busy stealing money. I don't know how much they have stolen from Didi Mabuza's funeral. Let's just wait. Things will come out. These fellows are thieves. They cannot be, they are incorrigible. So, and South Africans, we must call them out. These are thieves. We are governed by ANC thieves. And the sooner we accept that and protect our state from them, the better. Otherwise, we'll be a Zimbabwe. And I do not want my children to live in a country and under shame. You know, in South Africa today, Zimbabweans are actually ashamed to say I am from Zimbabwe. Now, if they destroy this country, the ANC will allow them to destroy this country, where do you think you and I will run? Where? We can't go to Mozambique. Mozambique is a basket case. We can't go to Zimbabwe. Zimbabwe is a basket case. Maybe we can go to Botswana, but
We'll have to go to Botswana, yeah.
It's a small space.
Sure.
It's a small space.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the Botswana, by the way, the Botswana fellows, we must congratulate them. They're running that thing very well there. So we must defend this thing because it's the only thing we have.
And I really appreciate the bravery with which you speak, because it feels like we live in a time, especially in this Ramaphosa era, I must say, where people have taken leave of their sensibilities. And I don't know what happened, but at least in the Zuma presidency, there was pressure. And that pressure ultimately led to some accountability. But it feels like despite the fact that things have slid so far, there's not really any real pressure on the president, on the government. It's as if they're occupying this space where they don't see the cries of the people.
I'll tell you, I'm a political scientist by training, other than being an activist. I know how states operate. And by the way, my specialty is democratization. That's what I've studied. When a society collapses, and I wrote a book, The Death of Our Society. That was my first book. When a society collapses, people don't see that this thing is collapsing. They wake up late. The first people to see it are the intellectuals. because they study the details of the functioning of society.
Yeah.
And that's why the intellectuals in societies are the most hated, especially in dictatorships, because they conscientize and enlighten society. But they never believed, actually. Intellectuals are never believed. But then it gets to a stage where people get angry. We have reached that stage, by the way, under Zuma. When, people who were mobilizing, then that is the highest peak. And then it comes down to a sense of resignation, where people accept that, you know what, it is what it is. Things have collapsed. That's where South Africans are. And it's an extremely dangerous stage. That's when the thieves, the criminals move en masse into the heart of the state. And that's where the kleptocratic politicians steal more. That's where we are. The ANC fellows in government now are stealing as if there is no tomorrow. Because they know these are the last days. And they can sense the mood of society. The mood has accepted that, we live in a kleptocracy anyway. It takes a few people like you with a platform like this to keep on beating the drum, hitting the drum and saying, we cannot give up. And we must never give up. Because if we give up, what is going to happen to our children?
How are you looking at the GNU at the moment? This is something we've been keeping an eye on in our constant conversations. The Andrew Whitfield firing put the GNU again on the rocks. DA said they were going to pull out of the national dialogue. They've held this motion of no confidence out. And then, boom, the Mkhwanazi allegations come, and a lot of the focus has shifted away from the GNU infighting. Where do you see things standing at the moment?
Look, in the beginning, I said this and I maintain that this is the best arrangement under the circumstances, because I just cannot imagine an alternative given the electoral outcomes. But I have also said at the same time, this is a government of enemies. The ANC and the DA hate each other. They don't see eye to eye. And each party is in this thing to weaken the other. That's what is happening. They've been working on it. An arrangement like this would require a president who rises above the fray.
Absolutely.
Who is capable of rising above his comrades and rising above the opponents on the other side. Cyril Ramaphosa has failed to do so. He has been downright partisan, siding with his corner. That's why he was very quick to fire a DA deputy minister who has committed no crime. I mean, this chap has committed no crime. I'll just be honest about it. Why? To spite the DA. So the DA has a right to be offended by what Ramaphosa has done. He has failed to show leadership. So we have this rickety arrangement. It's a car whose wheels are falling as it proceeds. And it's careening all over the show. It has no sense of directionality. Ramaphosa promised that there would be, before the national dialogue, that there would be a breakaway where the parties to the government of national unity would hammer out the middle ground. It has not happened.
There's still no policy.
There's no policy. So, to be honest, we are on autopilot. And the thing about it, the ANC does not want to be seen to be the ones that have booted the DA out. The DA also does not want to be seen to be the ones who have walked out of it. So they are in this thing that they hate, both of them. So there's an opening in society to continue to conduct your interviews. If you're doing business and you employing people, continue to do what you are doing. Forget about this government people. That's where we are.
The national dialogue you alluded to earlier, but I mean, I've tried so, to see the point, to get behind and think, well, maybe it's good for us to talk. I just can't.
It's a complete waste of two resources: money and time. If South Africans really were still interested in their country and their society, you know what I would advise them to do? To mobilize, march against this national dialogue. March against it.
That would be a real dialogue.
Yeah, that would be a real dialogue. This is going to waste our money in the first place. In the second place, this is how our polity is organized and operates. It is a thing called constitution. There's a thing called parliament. There's a thing called cabinet, the executive. These parties, they present manifestos, we choose. And then we vote them, they come to the government, they implement the policies we have chosen. Right?
Yeah.
These are the structures that are empowered to take decisions and implement in society.
Thank you.
Now, this idea that some jamboree, right, is going to convene and they drink wine and then they are old. I mean, look at Gwedemantashe. He sleeps at every meeting. He's going to be there yawning, right? And then after that, who's going to implement that? They are not empowered to implement anything. So please, South Africans, let's mobilize against this national dialogue. It's not a national dialogue. It's a forum where they want to give tenders to someone who's going to host it. Remember, there is a hotel that is going to host this thing. I can assure you, someone is going to steal that man.
Sure.
Yeah. There is a hotel. There is a guy who's going to provide catering food and wine. The comrades are going to eat from that.
And then we'll have a commission to
There is someone who's going to provide stationery, pens and paper.
Yeah.
There is someone who's going to organize even cabs. There will be branding. Remember Natim Tetu and the flag. This whole thing is not a national dialogue. It's a last opportunity for the ANC fellows under Ramaphosa to loot our money. So please, let's stand up. There must be no national dialogue in our name. We have voted a government. Let them implement policies. They told us that they are going to...
We just had an election
last year. Yeah. So please, not in our name. It's a waste of money and time they want to steal.
Yeah, I just echo your sentiments. And if we really want to have a conversation about this country and a dialogue, unfortunately, the same people who are convening this dialogue are going to have to be the subject of that conversation as well. So I don't see how we can have a national dialogue when we need to be talking about the people who are convening the national dialogue as one of the core agenda items for what we really need to talk about in this country.
If you want to sort out crime, get the criminals into prison. And then you must remain with the priests outside and say, how do we bring back morality? Can't take the criminals into that conference. The criminals will be looking at you, the priests, and say, that one talks a lot. We'll sort him out. So this national dialogue, the criminals will be right there. Mchunu will be there. Ramaphosa will be there. Right? What kind of national dialogue is that? It's a dialogue of criminals. So I repeat, no national dialogue to steal our money. There's a government. Let them implement. We have voted.
Absolutely.
And then come the next elections, we'll vote another government. That's it. That's how societies work.
Absolutely. If we took this money from the national dialogue, the money we're going to spend on this commission of inquiry, and the money we're going to spend on having 2 police commissioners at once, we could put that into crime intelligence. We could put that into the NPA. We could put that back into the judiciary where our courts are falling apart. And we could actually take steps towards having a better criminal justice system.
Yeah, correct. We could even give the poor, we could increase the social grants of the poor who are really poor, struggling. So the poor must never allow Ramaphosa to steal their money. You see, and that's the thing. We must make it simple so that someone who is poor in a village understands that when they hear a thing called national dialogue on radio, that thing is about stealing their money. It's about making them poorer. So that the poor must rise against these fat cats in Pretoria to say, hey, stop that thing. Bring that money here because we are hungry. We are poor. Because they are stealing from the poor. This is the money that is supposed to improve the conditions in hospital. This is the money that is supposed to improve the conditions in public schools. This is the money that is supposed to fix potholes on the roads. They are now diverting this thing in the name of national dialogue. At the end of the day, that money is going to end up in the pockets of these fat cats.
On our recent conversation, at the height of the MK party, it had just come off a spectacular election result. You told us the MK would start to implode. And again, it sounded far-fetched. But since then, we've had Floyd Shivambu leaving the MK party and a lot of internal instability in MK. Your thoughts on where the MK project stands now?
You know, when I said it, by the way, I was a bit scared,
Yeah.
Because I said it to you, and your father was very excited about about MK, and I knew that, so I thought maybe you were going to kick me out of this interview.
Never.
But I know you are a Democrat.
I'm now no longer seen as an MK.
I know.
I'm fine.
You and I have been labeled as,
all kinds of things.
All kinds of things,
Yeah.
so it's okay. But here is the thing.
No, this is a platform for
No.
open debate.
Look, I know it. Whoever said that you are MK this or EFF that, I've never believed that, because I know it's an open platform. That's why I keep on coming here.
Appreciate that.
I said that the MK party is a family affair of the Zumas. Number one. Number two, is a tribal party eyeing Zulus. And that too, it's not a party in the sense that it will never build structures the way conventional parties build structures, through an election at a region, at a branch, a province, national. So Zuma decided from day one that there shall be no elections for as long as I'm alive in MK. Why? Because he wanted to chop and change anyone at any time on the basis of family discussions that he has with his children. While everybody else, your father are not there. Remember, at night, your father must go to his house.
His chambers.
his chambers, right? And also Floyd must exit. Who remains in the headquarters of MK? The headquarters of MK, by the way, are in Kandla, in the private family home of Zuma. Who remains there is Zuma, Duduzane, Zille, and all of Edward and them. They now tell him who must be sorted out in this MK thing. And they were very clever, by the way. There was a strategy, and I can see the strategy is continuing in terms of managing other tribes. There was a deliberate effort to position Shangans in strategic positions in MK. Floyd was a victim of that strategy. He says he learned a lot from Zuma, and someone who learns from Zuma, I don't understand. I mean, I can teach Zuma, I might not learn from him. Even Makubele, who is now chief whip, right? You can see. But the point is this thing is a family affair, period. It's not a party. Anybody who is still in MK thinking that this is a party, they must wake up and smell the coffee. You will be kicked out of MK anytime. Whenever the kids and the father think that they've used you, it's enough. Period. So this thing, that's why I'm not worried about it when I try and look into South Africa's future. I've said this. It's going to collapse. The day Zuma exits, he dies. He will die. That's the end of it. The fights are going to be shocking. I mean, they are fighting now while he's alive. Think of the intensity of the fights when the guy is gone. So they will fight. So I'm not surprised. I did warn Floyd publicly. He didn't listen. That this thing's a tribal thing. He's not going to last. He didn't last a year. So I'm not surprised. This thing is going nowhere. It's a family affair. It has confused a few souls who have gone in that direction. But I can tell you, all of them, I dare say, including your father, are disappointed as we speak, because they've seen through what that is. Here is my worry, which is bigger than MK.
Sure.
Black politics in South Africa has disintegrated. That for me is the bigger worry.
Yeah.
Look at black parties, almost without exception, they are all in disarray. So this is what it means. It means that black people as a group now have nothing that unites them. Not only unites them against other races. No, that's not the most important thing.
Sure.
But unite them behind an agenda that is going to improve their lives. Because the whole point, by the way, of politics is to improve ordinary people's lives. If you look at white politics, you can look at it historically, by the way. From the English to the Afrikaners. The English united behind their own parties and party. What did the party do? At the end of English rule in South Africa, English politics had improved the living conditions of the English. That's the summary of the story. The Afrikaners, there was a thing called the poor white problem, which affected the Afrikaners at some point.
Absolutely.
At the end of Afrikaner rule in South Africa, what was the outcome? The Afrikaners had used politics to improve the conditions, the living conditions of the Afrikaners. What about the blacks? At the end of black rule in South Africa, which is the ANC, where we are now, the blacks have used politics to deepen poverty among themselves. That, for me, is the most worrying part. That's why I am pained by the chaos that is going on in black politics.
There's talk I've heard actually since the end of the last election of a potential consolidation of some parties who are maybe not in the top 3 or 4, but the likes of Rise Mzansi, Bosa, Good Party, Action SA, all of those playing in that space. What do you think of an attempt to consolidate that segment of the electorate?
No, I disagree with that. That's my opinion. I'm sure they will be very angry. I mean, some of these chaps are my friends. Songes was a personal friend of mine. But I disagree with that thing. Here is how I would envision a black rescue project.
Okay.
That project must begin the way the ANC was formed in the first place. The ANC was first existed in the head of one fellow called Pixley Kasem. He understood how to form a party. He went around the country to talk to the black elites. And at the time, the black elites were the chiefs. So you need the black elites, the most educated in our society, blacks, the likes of you. They must come together. Forget these chaps in parliament who have messed up. They must come together. They don't have to be many, by the way, and say, guys, how do we rescue our country? They must form a new party. A party that is not poisoned by these chaps who are in parliament. Those chaps who are in parliament are now poisoned. Now, these black elites must not be racist. They must invite white elites who are progressive and come together and say, white people, you are also part of this country. Let's form something new. You need a party that is going to be led by the most educated and the most upright in society, that brings together both blacks and whites. That is the only thing that can save South Africa. Anything else will not save South Africa. If you have a party that is white and takes care of the interests of whites alone, it will not work. If you have a party that claims to save the interests of blacks alone, it will also not work. That's my formula. But I don't know if there are people like that.
Sure.
Maybe you should consider it.
Wow. Yeah. No, I'm fine in this media corner for now.
I'm also fine in my noise making space,
And it's an important space. I think we're in a time in our country where we need those radical voices in the best sense of the term. Those voices that look at power and criticize power unapologetically. And, we at least still have those voices.
Yeah. Look, I mean, I've had many people say, Prince, why don't you go to politics? And I tell them that,
sure.
but I am in politics already. I am in politics. I don't need to be a member of parliament to play in the political space. And for me, real politics is the politics of substance in defense of society. And you don't need to stand in parliament to do so. Number one. Number two, in normal democratic societies, you have public intellectuals whose role it is to be the conscience of society. You can't say those people now must be converted into politicians. No. So my role is to do exactly what I'm doing, which is to speak up my mind. The day I am lucky to receive an invitation from you, I'll come and speak. The day I'm not invited, I'll sit in my library and read books. But that's my role.
Absolutely. And you've played that role admirably, and you always bring a new dimension to what's happening in our country. Thank you so much for joining us for yet another fascinating episode of SMWX. I think this conversation is going to be a classic. So thanks.
Thanks for inviting me. You're so generous, man.
We must both go into our bunkers now after this and read some books, because attacks are coming.
Yeah, I've just finished Kissinger's biography by Walter Isaacson.
Yes.
And I'm now going to read Adonai's biography. Zhu is coming from Germany with a stash for me. So.
You're a fan of biography?
Oh, yes, I read a lot of biographies. Because biography is history. It's not about the personal life of that person. It's about the era in which that person...
And you get the context.
And I read a lot of philosophy and economics.
Okay.
Yeah, so fantastic. That's So I'm going back to my study.
Wonderful. Thank you, sir. We really appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Like, share, subscribe. Have you subscribed? How can you not subscribe when you get content like this delivered to you for free? Our next goal is 300,000 subscribers by the end of this year. Thank you for taking us past 250k subs. Comment down below. Do you agree? Do you disagree? This is a space for debate in our country, dialogue, robust discussion. So put your thoughts and comments down below, and make sure to keep it liked and locked on SMWX. The tagline of this channel, apart from Ayeye, is spread the fire. What do we mean by that? Spread this channel by word of mouth, on WhatsApp, on social media, to your friend groups. We've built this channel by word of mouth, and we will continue to do so. So help us spread the fire and keep it locked on SMWX. Ayeye.